Hello and welcome everyone, I'm Madals and here today I've got game 1 of a best of 3. It's from the ZvZ UK Masters and it is a ZvZ Zerg on Zerg. So let's get straight to it, let's introduce these two players. Down in the lower left position of Daybreak, spawning as the blue Zerg. From Team Liquid, it's Ret. And his opponent up in the top right, the purple Zerg player from Western Wolves, it is Ziktomini. So, these two should be having a lot of fun. Currently the metagame of ZvZ is all about the Mutalisk. Like, pretty much most, I don't want to say all of, but the majority of the games I casted to ZvZ end up in Mute or Muta. There are other options that are viable, but just generally speaking, a lot of players, especially pros, seem to be favouring this Mutalisk style, just due to how flexible it is, the harassment potential, and just generally the fun you can have with it. You can poke in, you can harass and get back to defense. It's a very agile and mobile army, and that's something that a lot favour. You can actually outdo that with Hydras, but it's a very small window where Hydralists can actually beat Mutalists, because once the flock of Mutas gets above the sort of 20 mark, nothing can stand in their way other than more Mutalists with better upgrades, and that's really why it comes to that with the metagame. But currently we're seeing Ziktomini go for a double extractor trick. It would appear so. So he's going for a 12 of 10 before he gets his Overlord out. So this is a very, very unusual, well, it's not very unusual, but it's a strategy you don't see too often. People like Ret tend to just get the Overlord out, and you can see that it actually benefits Ret in terms of the drone count, and he's also getting down his hatchery very quickly. So is Ziktomini going to be going for some form of aggression? Very probable. He could get 6 Zerglings out very early on, almost in a metagame against Ret, just knowing how well he plays and knowing that he's almost certain to get this hatch first opening. So this is an interesting strategy, and as we can see, Ret not even started his spawning pool yet, going gas before pull. So you can see now just how easily Ziktomini is going to be able to do some good damage, especially with 8 Zerglings coming out. This is a good little play, a very good read on his opponent, because of course Ret, always known for being very macro heavy, getting out a lot of drones as quickly as he can. So this is something that could be very, very effective. Ret is going to have to identify this quickly. He does see the Zerglings coming out, but doesn't know the follow-up. That's what he's really looking for. Is there any more Zerglings coming? And the answer, yes, another 2 in production. The hatchery is coming down, and this is an important scout for Ret, because the second Ret sees this, he knows that it isn't an all-in, he's going to be transitioning out from it, and therefore he should be able to really deal with it. But there's nothing Ret can essentially do at the moment, because his spawning pool is still a good 15 seconds away from completion, so he's just going to have to grin and bear this. And unfortunately this hatchery could take a lot of damage, it could even get cancelled, but this is the best thing that Ret can do, is just wait. Don't try and overreact to it, just be like, okay, take your time killing this hatchery. Does cancel it, because obviously if it finished there would be no way to save those 225 minerals, but now in they come. 4 Zerglings are in production. The drones are going to have to be microed very effectively. We do have more Zerglings coming over, but this is already losing quite a bit of mining time for Ret here. But the good little stack up is so effective, because it means that basically all the drones can hit at the same time and essentially one-shot into a Zergling. But now we see some of Ret's lings coming out. He's lost very few workers. All of this push has really done is delayed the natural base quite significantly. But now Ret just keeping his lings back, making sure he doesn't overcommit, doesn't over push forward, knowing that there's a lot of Zerglings out for Ziktomini here. But Ziktomini behind this, his own hatchery is about to complete. It's about a couple of seconds off, and if we actually look at the resource workers lost, Ret lost no drones that entire push so far. Of course, round 2 is coming in. It's still the same 8 Zerglings that were out before, and actually no, there's 9 of them. I take it back. So these 9lings are just poking, prodding. The Queen is now out as well, which will help defend this. But all the while, Ziktomini's just keeping Ret on one base. That's really irritating. You don't want to be on one base for too long in Zerg. It hurts your production, your income, everything's not too fun. But if we look at the actual work count, Ret is still ahead. He's got 18 drones to just 16. So as long as he secures this down, he should be okay. But Ziktomini should start pulling ahead now, just due to how long he delayed that natural base. So Ret definitely going to be looking to come back with something fun, and it looks like a Baneling nest is going to be the option of choice. So Banelings, of course, very good against just straight up Zerglings. Ziktomini has not yet started his Zergling speed. He also hasn't started a Baneling nest or anything like that. He does have 3 drones in gas, but that's only been mining for a little while. So he's just reaching the 70 mark in terms of the Vespian count, but honestly, he needs to get out. He needs a Baneling nest to defend against Banelings, otherwise you're not going to have a good time. You need to make sure that you either get Banelings out or you get double Evo chamber at the front with the Spine Crawler with Queens walling it all off, otherwise it becomes exceptionally difficult. The other thing to note is Ziktomini does not have Zergling speed, whereas Ret does. That just means that he's going to be able to get a couple more hits or get a better surround slightly quicker and generally have a better engagement. So, as we can see now, banelings are morphing in. We've got more lings pushing forward. Ret does not want this game to go on too long. Focusing down this spine crawler as quickly as he can. The spine crawler already taken down to half health. That's quite significant. Behind this, Ret just getting down his natural hatchery. It's nearly complete, but in come the banelings. The zerglings will want to try and focus down this spine crawler, which Ziktomini did get a transfuse off of, but here comes a good connection on quite a few zerglings. The rest of the banelings trying to move forward, do get a hit off on some drones, but of course it takes 2 banelings to kill 1 drone, so not doing that much. Red though is going to be able to get into the main base with just a handful of lings, should be able to pick up a couple of drones here. Ziktomini trying to pull them back, trying to do this nice little minimal walk trick, but as we can see, this is still doing more damage than Ziktomini did early on against Ret. 4 workers have been killed. Ret still with the advantage of precisely 4 drones. So this is looking really, really nice for the Liquid player. Ziktomini is pumping quite a few units. He's also behind in tech. His Baneling Nest only just finishing up at the moment. But Ret just keeping running around, keeping a good eye. Sees there's still 3 drones in gas. All of these little tells are a great way to read your opponent and work out what their plan may be in the mid-game. Red now, with his lair about a quarter done, with his 2nd and 3rd gas on their way, he is looking to be teching up quite quickly. He could be going for mutas, he could be going for just a nice little Hydra push, we'll wait to see, but generally speaking, as I said at the start, mutalists tend to be the most common thing. More banelings morphing out at the moment for Ziktomini, so he's just getting those defensively moving forward with his slowlings. Speed just kicks in now, so this is where things really start to level out, but the worker count is all important, and as we can see, Red just nicely ahead. 10 drones is a monumental amount in ZvZ, but Ziktomini does want to take some more out. He does have some zerglings pushing forward, but sees the spine crawler, doesn't see any banelings, and that's always a concern. The banelings just sitting on the ramp. Red should be able to hold off any ling of aggression, so should those Ziktomini with his own 2 banelings there. Both players going up to 4 gas now, but the lair quite a lot sooner out for Ret, although Ret not yet started his Spire. There we go, so Spire coming down, mutas just as we should expect. Ziktomini will probably get his own Spire down shortly, so, well, hopefully as soon as this lair finishes up. So once all of that pins together, once it all comes out nicely, it then comes down to who has more Mutalisks and who has the better Mutalisk upgrade. You should always get the armor upgrade for mutas in ZvZ. The reason being is because it massively reduces the damage done by the bouncing glaive, it's far more so than the increased damage does, so always get the armor. Just do it, it's the right thing to do. Now, we've got the double hatcheries coming down, so 1 for each player at their 3rd. This is just both players wanting to macro up as best they can. Some lings running around, probably going to be a bit more of a passive phase to the game, just due to the fact that the spires are on their way. Neither player will want to engage too soon without the spire. They don't want to risk losing the zergling force they've got, the ground superiority. Red just hiding a couple of zerglings down here. Will they get spotted? That is the big question. Yes, they will. So now, of course, these are pretty much quite a few of them should go down, and the rest may just be able to sneak back, but this is some good damage. Red pulling forward the rest of his zerglings. I don't think he feels confidence that his count is quite right, but he's got some banelings here. That could be a really big detonation, but Ziktomini does see just in time. That is a nice little read there by Ziktomini, making sure that he reacts appropriately. Red getting the +1 carapace for those mutalisks and air units out just as we would want. So this is now looking to be a very, very balanced game, but Red, his drone advantage is slightly lower than it was before. The banelings still threatening to come forward. This is always a scary moment if you are coming up against your opponent with lings and ziplings, but you have only got those zerglings. The 3rd base is taking quite a bit of damage here. It is just a scurry of units here. Some baneling detonations are going off, as we can see, but all in all, this should just now be a really, well, Red is looking really quite comfortable here. He's going to be able to take out this 3rd base, almost certainly. Ziktomini trying to come in with 2 banelings, but the baneling on baneling fights are always so tough. This 3rd base does manage to stay up. The mutalisks are just hitting the field now for Ziktomini, so they're coming in, they're going to do some nice damage, but Red, he's got his own mutas on the ground or in the air, and they'll be coming in to join the action shortly as well. Red just trying to do good damage. Great baneling hit goes down there both for Ziktomini, taking out a lot of Red's banelings. So this is looking really nice at the moment for the Western Walls player. Yet again, in terms of the muta count, that's the important thing though. Ziktomini is ahead. Well, actually no, after that the next volley of them come out, we do see that it's exactly equal. So it comes down to the upgrades, and this is where Red has a big advantage. 100-second advantage in terms of how much sooner he's going to have that +1 carapace, and for how long he's going to have that while his opponent doesn't. The upgrade advantage is just going to mean these mutalisks will engage so much better. The 3rd base for Ziktomini also potentially looking slightly weakened, but now we've got a bit of a muta on muta engagement here. A couple take some damage, but as long as they don't die, that's not a huge problem. We see that the 3rd base for Ziktomini is looking a bit low. Ziktomini also running some zerglings in towards the 3rd base of Red. Where are all of Red's defensive units? Well, they're not anywhere to be seen. Not enough zerglings there to really threaten that base though, so this is again, fine for Red, who is just about to finish up his flyer carapace, and that means that he can start going on the offensive. Once he's got that upgrade, he's going to be very comfortable moving forward, trying to snipe off some more mutas, and even if his muta count is slightly lower, which it actually is ahead, it would still mean that he engages well. Starts the +1 flyer attack straight away after that, so just such a good reaction out of the Liquid player here. Great timings on his upgrades. Really going to allow him to do well. Ziktomini taking his 4th base, trying to get a slight edge wherever he can, and that is always something you want to be doing in ZvZ, or really any matchup. You want to be trying to take advantages, but every time you try and get an advantage, you're taking a risk in doing so, because this is a vulnerability, something that Ret could try to exploit. The +1 carapace to a flyer is not yet done for Ziktomini, so still, Ret, if he was being more aggressive, he would come out on top. We can see the Mutalisk count is identical, so even if the first volley went to Ziktomini, Ret would still win the fight in a head-up engagement on these Mutalisks, just due to having the better upgrades. But Ziktomini is about to kick in with that +1 flyer carapace shortly. We see both players just pumping Mutalisks as quickly as they can. The 4th base could be really beneficial. In terms of the worker count, Red though, he is hugely ahead. 67 drones to just 54 of Ziktomini. That is a big income advantage, as we can see from here. Red getting a lot more minerals. The gas income pretty much the same, but it all helps. Now, income, these Mutalisks, they are taking some damage from this Spore Caller, but we'll focus it down. Red going to lose quite a lot of drones here, just due to the size of the Mutaflock. Pretty much one-shocking, but here we see Red trying to go in for the flank, gets a couple of volleys off, kills a few Mutalisks, and a couple of Mutalisks going down for the sake of just a few drones is not worth it, but the engagement is looking to be going into Red's favour. If we look at the units tab, we can see straight away the Red with a much larger Mutalisk flock. He is doing really, really well here. He's taken out most of Ziktomini's Mutalisks, and the counter-attack is going to be devastating should Red decide to move in. The Zergling's getting taken out as well. Red still pumping out more units, but GG, Ziktomini knows he is not going to be able to hold that, and, well, we will be going on to Game 2. Remember, everyone, like the video, leave a cool comment, and subscribe. See you at Game 2 any second.